guys, it's Yuto from SaizeriyaRecipes.com. If you ever lived in Japan, I'm sure you know about Saizeriya, the Japanese-Italian chain restaurant. It's cheap, but they actually have good stuff. When I was a kid, that was my favorite restaurant, and that was one of a few places my family would take me. The most loved dish on the menu is Milano Doria, which is basically their signature dish. You might be wondering if this dish is Italian. With a name like Milano Doria, it sounds like Italian, right? But actually, it's a made-up dish by Saizeriya. Milano Doria is made up of 3 different parts: turmeric rice, bechamel sauce, and meat sauce. It's comforting, rich, and delicious. So now, I'm going to show you how to recreate Saizeriya Milano Doria from scratch. All of the ingredients are listed in the description box. So now let's get started. So we're gonna start by making the rice. For this you will need 150 grams of short grain rice, which is about 3/4 in US cups. 200 milliliters of water, which is about 1 cup and 2 tablespoons. 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder. 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter. And a pinch of salt. This recipe is for 2 portions, so if you want to make more, feel free to double or triple the ingredients. So, I've washed my rice and I'm gonna put it straight in the pot with the other ingredients. The easiest way to cook this is using a rice cooker, like I am now, but if you don't have a rice cooker, don't worry. I have a video on my channel which will show you how to cook rice on the stove. The link is in the description. Just add the turmeric, butter and salt to the water before cooking the rice. Give it a little stir. This is gonna take about 20 to 30 minutes, so in the meantime I'm gonna make the meat sauce. For this you will need 100 grams of minced beef or pork, half an onion, 1 clove of garlic, half a can of tinned tomatoes, so that's 200 grams, 1 teaspoon of flour, 1 teaspoon of olive oil, a pinch of salt, 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, half tablespoon of sugar, and 1/4 teaspoon of curry powder. So, I start by finely dicing the onion. I'm gonna cut it quite small because we don't want to feel chunks of onion in the sauce. Take a decent sized frying pan and heat it on medium, and then add 1 teaspoon of olive oil. Add the onion to the pan along with some crushed garlic and fry it for a few minutes just to soften it and release the flavour. Next, we're going in with the ground beef. You can also use a mixture of pork and beef, or even just pork. Fry it until it's browned. So I told you earlier that Milano Doria is a dish made up by Saizeriya, so this is kind of a Yoshuk dish. Yoshuk means Japanese style Western food and includes things like omurice or hamburg. The original Doria was created by a Swiss chef in 1930 and was basically risotto topped with bechamel sauce. It's come a long way since then. Add a pinch of salt and pepper, then a teaspoon of flour. This is just to thicken up the sauce later. Give it a mix and we can add our tinned tomato. Mix it and heat on medium until it starts to bubble. When it's starting to boil, we can bring the heat down to a low simmer and add other seasonings. So I'm using soy sauce, sugar, and a little bit of curry powder. This is gonna add depth of flavor and give your meat sauce a bit of a kick. So we'll leave the meat sauce to simmer for 10 minutes and stir it occasionally. In the meantime, let's move on to the bechamel sauce. For this, we're going to use 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, a pinch of salt, 1 pinch of black pepper, 150 milliliters of milk, and 125 milliliters of single cream. So take a pan and put it on a low heat. We're just gonna melt the butter first. Once it's melted, we're gonna add salt and flour and mix it up. This is to make roux and acts as a thickening agent for the sauce. Gradually add the single cream and milk while whisking. You can also use double cream or half and half if you prefer. This recipe is quite forgiving. Just keep mixing until it thickens. The bechamel sauce is very mild in flavour and it works very well with the bold flavours from the meat sauce and the turmeric rice. It just balances everything out perfectly. Once it's a good consistency, take it off the heat and we can start assembling the meat doria. First, preheat your oven to 220 degrees Celsius or 430 Fahrenheit. I'm using 2 smaller oven dishes, but you can just use 1 medium size if it's what you have. So start with the layer of turmeric rice, just smooth it out evenly. Next, we're gonna add the bechamel sauce. Now the meat sauce. And finally, we're gonna add some cheese. I received quite a lot of questions from my readers asking what kind of cheese is best for Doria. Saizeriya uses a hard cheese called pecorino, so if you're aiming for authentic Saizeriya style, then stick with pecorino. You could also use parmigiano, which is a bit easier to find. On the other hand, I love melted cheese, so I've added Gruyere cheese to this other one. Other melted cheese like cheddar also work, but if you're unsure, check out the website. The link is in the description and I have a list of cheeses you can use on the blog. So finally, we're gonna put them in the oven for 10 minutes on the middle shelf. Once 10 minutes are up, we move them to the top shelf just to brown the cheese a little. And there you have it, delicious Saizeriya style Milano meat Doria. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this recipe, then like and subscribe. I hope to see you again. Bye.